Stop letting me in. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Let's give praise, esteem, and honor to Yahuwah. Bless his Kadesh Shabbat in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. No, search the scriptures. In them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify to me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor. I know you. You have not the love of Allah in you. I come out of his name, you receive me not. But another shall come in his own name, him you receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another? Huh? How can you believe which receive honor one from another and receive not the honor that comes from Allah only? Do not think that I will accuse you. There's one that accused even Moses, to whom you trust. Because had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote to me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Praise be to Elohim. His Kadesh by the name of Yahushua. Y'all know what it is. Ephesians 3 and 14. We got a lot of stuff to look at. Got a lot of stuff to add. Just that there in the third. You feel me? Everybody, their panties in a bunch. You know what I'm saying? You know, the internet is a good thing and it's a bad thing at the same time because it gives people a platform to just run their mouth. I just seen a young brother, man. Young brother ain't mean no harm. Brother said one of his family members came to him and said, "Can we make it to be about Torah instead of skin color?" And he seen that, thought that was an odd thing. See, this is what let me tell y'all something, man. And I'm probably going to reiterate it a couple times. And I don't know if I ever mentioned it, but just talking and it just came to my mind. You know the beast probably gonna get you niggas because he probably gonna stand up and tell you that you the children of Israel and try to convince the whole world to believe you Israel and you stupid niggas gonna go for it. Y'all dumb niggas ain't even thought about that. But the fact that how excited you get because you say they speaking truth. Every time somebody say that you an Israelite, that's famous. He's speaking truth. And you dumb niggas gonna fall for it. That nigga probably mosey his wicked, slothful, no good, dastardly behind out there and proclaim that the quote unquote Negro, they really the children of Israel and this, that, there, and the third, and you stupid niggas gonna follow. Because you're more concerned about somebody telling you Israel and you knowing that than you knowing the creator of all things, you idiot. And I said it, and I said to anybody's face, you idiot. Because it's not about that. Because that's an idiotic concept that sets you up to be easily deceived because you glorying in your flesh like we concluded on Wednesday. Looking at what Paul's statement that you want to make a glory in your flesh. He said, but I myself, I'm going to glory in the stake of Yahushua HaMashiach. He said that's what he was going to esteem in. See, no woman can deceive you when you esteem in that. You can be deceived when you esteem in your flesh because that's carnal and it's temporary. We don't have enough understanding at this particular juncture. I told a brother this. I think I mentioned that to I told a good brother of mine, man, this here the other day. Like, bro, you wondering why all these people, when they faith tried, and I done told y'all this before, they fall off because all you gave them was law and that they were Israel. You never gave them nothing to where their hope and trust and expectation would be from the living Elohim. So therefore, when they face any adversity, any tribulation, any persecution, they don't have an anchor to the soul because you didn't give them anything for the soul. You gave them things according to the flesh and then mock and ridicule them when they fall. When nigga, you the reason why they fell and you going to go to hell with them. You're going to go to hell with them. And you're not going to go to hell just because you some Torah breaking individual. In reality, you just don't know it. You don't trust Yahuwah yourself. Because you're doing it out of debt and not out of favor. This man don't owe you nothing. This man don't owe you nothing. Ephesians 3 and 14. For this cause I bow my knees unto Abba of our Lord, Yahushua HaMashiach, of whom all the family in heaven and earth is named. And he will grant you according to the riches of his esteem, to be strengthened with his might. To be strengthened with might by his ruach in the inner man. See, pause. Notice that you can't be strengthened, and we've talked about this already in this aspect of this chapter. You cannot be strengthened in the inner man by his ruach without the faith. That's impossible. Knowing you Israel can't do it, that's not the truth. It sickens me. I'm not even going to say sick because that's too of an extreme word. It frustrates me. It aggravates me. It leads to extreme consternation. Every time I hear somebody say that, you can't return back to Yahuwah unless you know you're an Israelite. Most jackassity thing that anyone can say. Completely and totally asinine. That if you think that your repentance is tied on knowing what your nationality is, your repentance is not tied to that because the gospel is not tied to that. The gospel is strictly the love, mercy, and grace and everlasting salvation through the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahushua HaMasiach. Your nationality is not tied to that. You understand? We don't even talk about us being Israelites. For what? Truth be told, it is implied. I would feel like such an idiot if I wasted time talking about that week after week. That's not important. It's really not. It's not going to get you the Ruach. It's not going to get you everlasting salvation. It doesn't guarantee you a spot. It just means the gospel comes to you first. You're supposed to get it before anybody get it. You're the first one in line to get this word. Period, point blank. I'm telling you, I'm an extreme opinion. And again, this is my opinion. That the beast probably gonna jump out here and say that we Israelites and niggas gonna follow behind them because of that. Because look how you run behind T.I. mentioning what he mentioned. Look how you run behind Nick Cannon. Look how you ran behind Chingy. Huh? Look how you running behind Ice Cube and John Jackson. Nigga, who cares? Did they tell you that Yahushua shed his blood and resurrected from the dead for your salvation, that you might receive an everlasting kingdom? Did they tell you to turn from your sins and return to your maker and put your flesh to the side and serve Elohim and Ruach and the truth and deliver your soul from death? Because if they ain't told you that, what truth is they talking? You got to understand something. It's a difference from saying the truth, aka something factual, and speaking the Amuna, the Amath, and the Aman. There is a difference, and you need to know the difference because there's a difference. There is a difference. You understand? Let me finish this out, man. May be able to comprehend with all saints what is the breadth, length, depth, and height, and to know the love of Mashiach, which past knowledge, that you might be filled with all the fullness of Elohim. See, we want you to know the love of Mashiach, and we want you to be filled with his fullness. You understand? Now, I had something in mind. Psalms 119, if you would. Psalms 119. You know, this is every brew favorite verse, and we look at it from time to time. Let's examine it. Psalms 119. I'm just looking at where the baseline to start it off at because I know what verse I want. We started at 137. Shalom, Brother Dow. Oh, for sure, man. Praise your Lord. All right, praise you. Praise your Lord. Hope all well up there, Doubt, man. I know they've been wilding up there. Psalms 119 and 137. Give me a second, if you would. Okay, I'm ready now. Now, Psalms 119 and 137, or 137 to 144. Shalom, Britt. What's up, Sharon? It's under sod. Because if y'all don't know, I know most of y'all know that in Psalms 119, it's broken up with the olive top. You know what I'm saying? The alphabet. The characters in our alphabet are there. You know what I'm saying? And alphabet. I mentioned that because I was sitting down with Monte and them. I was telling them that they're in order. Because mine are not in order. But on here they're in order. You know what I'm saying? But you got sod. So this particular shalom, Sean. This particular division of this Psalms, of these 7 verses, is under sod for way. So of course, you know, you got sod and dalet, right? I'll make sure I ain't leaving no character out on that. which of course you know is you're going to come out with righteous. That's what we're beginning with. So I want you to think about this here, that this particular division of Psalms is the way. You understand? It's the way. Look at what it says with the way. Righteous are you, O Yahuwah, and upright are your judgments. He said, your testimonies that you have commanded are righteous and very faithful. So we know this Sadak. And then you have Amuna. I just mentioned that word, right? This is something that is steadfast, firm, steadfast and firm. So understand that that's when you look at faith in this regard. Pause. Hebrews chapter 6. When you look at faith in regards to our language, and we're going to get to the word truth in a minute. This is something that is steadfast and is firm. And after this here, I want you to go to Psalms 126. Just on, matter of fact, you ain't got to go to Psalms 126. We're grabbing Hebrews 12 because we already back there. Hebrews chapter 6, though. I pick it up at verse 10 on general principle. I was just talking about this, man. Let me tell you something. And this brother was talking about something in regards to women. Say dudes always ask him, how come women are never held accountable? And he was telling them, because society don't hold them accountable. But that's not the point. The point is what he said after that, which is reality. No one can be held accountable unless someone holds them accountable. Because most people are not going to hold themselves accountable. If you're accustomed to someone holding you accountable from your youth up, then you'll probably continue that as you become an adult, holding yourself accountable for your choices, your decisions, and your actions. See, when we know that you're a Hebrew, that is not learning for you to hold yourself accountable. You understand? And when you talk about holding yourself accountable to what you profess, not just that I don't want to sin, I don't want to break laws. That should be a given for the respect that you have for your father. But I'm talking about the accountability of looking at when you face with certain situations and circumstances that you deal with them wisely. And if someone came and told you you didn't handle this wisely, that you would be able to take that. Because nobody should look at that they're above criticism. It's okay. Everyone that's criticizing you is not criticizing you from a place of malice. You know what I'm saying? As Mike Tyson once put it, you know, everybody is not your friend and everybody is not your enemy. Because most people are not raised to be held, to be accountable. They think accountability, someone is their enemy. Because you're telling me something that I don't want to hear. Because I don't want to acknowledge that my choices and decision making led me to the current situation and circumstance of which I presently find myself. I've told y'all on numerous occasions, in the times that I found myself incarcerated, I did not sit there and say the white man put me here. Yes, did he craft situations and circumstances by a systematic system of devious and ungodliness that he crafted? Yes, he did. But I did not have to make the choice to participate. Now, unlike most of my peers, I had a better understanding of the construct and the structure of the geopolitical system of which I was involved in. So I knew the consequences were far more reaching than the immediate consequences that I was inflicting on those around me for my decision making. But when the consequences come from that decision, I can't blame nobody else for that. I'm going to have to take that on the chin. Why do I say that? Because when we look at this people, we do not like to take the consequences of our choices of being unfaithful to our Elohim and take them on the chin. You understand? Now, I heard a brother say this earlier today, and it's the truth. It ain't no different than your forefathers was when we were looking at Saul, when you were asking for a king. Or when we talked about a few weeks ago with that parable with Yahushua, when they say, we will not let him reign over us. Because in reality, we don't want Yahushua to reign over us. That's why we're so desperate to create something and set men up to run it. Because you don't want Elohim to be your king. You didn't want him to be your king during the time of Saul, and you don't want him to be your king now. You didn't want him to be king when Yahushua was being led to be put up on that stake, and you don't want him to be your king now. You have no desire for him to reign and rule in his house, and therefore you will not be a part of that house. As simple as that. Hebrews 6 and 10. For Elohim is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love which you have showed towards his name, and that you have served the Kased and do serve. We desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full of assurance of hope unto the end, and that you be not slothful. Listen what he tell you, the followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. That's absolutely right. They got exactly what they asked for. An unfaithful, disobedient idiot. An insecure, envious, jealous man. That's what they're going to get when they get the beast. You're going to get what you asked for. For when Elohim made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless you, and multiplying I will multiply you. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men surely swear by the greater, and the oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. Wherein Elohim, willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for Elohim to lie, we may have a strong consolation, who fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, which enter into that within the veil. Whether the forerunner is for us, entered, even Yahushua made a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. Yeah, you could definitely look at the beast being the shadow of Saul and the people asking for a king. You definitely could say that. Look at what he said, though. That he said is that anchor to the soul is sure and steadfast. So when you see that verse 19 in Hebrews 6, Amunah should come to your mind, because that's steadfast. The word of Yahuwah is steadfast. Come on over to Hebrews 12, and I guess you can go on over here to Matthew 7 behind it, because I told y'all we're going to do something, and I'm going to do that. But just work with me. Work with me. Just work with me. Come on around here, 12 and 24. We still got Psalms 130, 119. We in verse 139 in Psalms 119. See, the people don't love the word. See, the people love you a brew. You know what I'm saying? That's why some people don't progress and others do. See, some people don't progress spiritually because you're concerned about being a brew. Others don't progress because you work. At the end of the day, people are not progressing because they worry about the wrong thing. Your mind is not on your Elohim. Your heart is not set in heaven, where Mashiach sit at the right hand of the Father. Your mind's not above. Your mind is on this earth. That's why he told them people, I'm from above and you from beneath. We not the same. See, everybody worrying about being the same. I just seen a brother say people hearing their Hebrew, now they going to return to being a Hebrew and culturally. Who gives a damn about that? Who cares? Where it you got to bring it back to Yahuwah, man. All that other stuff, man, that's not the focal point. It's not. All that tells me, truth be told, is that Yahuwah ain't sent none of these niggas out here who we see talking. Couldn't have. Because remember what Yahushua told me. Remember what he told you. My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, he will know if the doctrine is mine or if I speak of myself. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own esteem. He that seek the esteem of him that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. That's what you're supposed to be paying attention to. Are they telling you about the person who sent them? If they sitting here telling you about how you an Israelite, boy, Yahushua did not send that man. Matter of fact, come over here to John chapter 13. Now, we done talked about this so many times, but the time's getting crucial. Because look here, man, they running out all these dudes out here. These dudes always screaming Illuminati, blood sacrifice, this, blood sacrifice that. And the minute a celebrity say something these niggas want to hear, then they forget that these people are a part of a Babylonian Kemetic mystery school system. These men are Kabbalists and alchemists and all type of funny stuff that these men be on. They forget about all of that. They forget about all of it. Because he said we Hebrews. Nigga can't be that guy. You can't be that guy. Because at the end of the day, when you look in this text, any man who stood for Yahuwah that was in a prominent place, they stood for that man's word. all the way around the board. Daniel ain't walking around talking about, I'm an Israelite. For what? He didn't need to tell the Babylonian people that. I serve Yahuwah. Oh, you can't pray to no other God. Watch what I do then. I hear you talking, you're lying to me. I'm going to open my window up because I did it 4 times and make supplication to my Allah. What it is, John the Baptist ain't sit back and say, oh, no, bro, you can't be married to her, brother. That's your brother's wife. Then what's wrong with you? Huh? Because if they was on Sunday, they go tell me, hey, man, them boys over there punking over there. Them boys ain't got no business. That's a man. Well, you not no woman. You's a boy. Well, you've been married 5 times. That's not your wife. Boy, put that woman down. See, this is the thing, right? Then the first thing is stop worshiping them idols. See, this is what a brute thinking they be running about. Y'all need to stop eating pork. Y'all ain't keeping man, bump all that. You can stop worshiping other gods. That's what you're doing. Stop doing that. Stop putting your mouth on that man's penis. You're a man. It ain't right. Stop touching them little children. You know what I'm saying? Stop stealing. Stop being deceitful. Ain't none of them boys talking about none of that. And also, too, I put this out here, too. Nick Cannon also showed you another thing. My nigga Dame Dash been saying that junk for years. They try to get out there and they make him look like he a boss and he don't own nothing. He's just a very expensive manager. Just a very highly paid manager. Don't own nothing. Niggas thinking this man old wilding out the whole time. Don't own any of it. Just an employee getting $70,000 an episode. These people making millions off of you. All of a sudden that you came up with, you don't even own it. Same we tell you think Oprah own? I told y'all for years. Oprah don't own. Discovery Channel do. Discovery Channel do. And the crazy part is that you don't even need to go on television networks anymore. You don't even need to do that anymore. With the internet, you don't even have to do that anymore. You can start your own site and stream directly on your site and get the advertising revenue and keep it for yourself. But these niggas too scared to do that. But they love Mr. Charlie entirely too much. They ain't got the heart to do that. Because they have to put their own money up. And that's what Dame be talking about all the time. So nobody want to put their own money up. They want that loan from Mr. Charlie and take his money to look like they balling, but you don't own nothing though. And because we so broke and downtrodden and simple and have never owned nothing, don't have the mind of a ruler, don't desire to rule, you look at that and you think, oh, boy, that owns something. He getting off. He don't own nothing. He got to answer to somebody. Nick Cannon is known for saying you can't fire the boss, and the nigga got fired and ain't got his show. Because nigga, if they severed your relationship, all they would do was cancel your show, and you would just take your show to another platform and put it there. You can't even take the name with you. You can't do nothing. So you ain't a boss. Somebody was signing your check. You had to answer to somebody. You had to call somebody and apologize. Bosses don't have to apologize to anyone for anything. They don't have to answer to anyone because the ruler is going to rule. This is what I'm on, and this is what we're doing in my house. And if you ain't with it, you can slide. See, that's what they did to him because they're ruling. See, you don't have a mind to rule because you're looking for somebody to rule for you. You have a mind to rule, and you make you make wide expansing decisions. You have a forward-thinking vision. You don't make rash decisions. You think things out because you know that's going to affect other people. But we talk about that. 2 Samuel 23, he that rule amongst men must be just. See, everybody want to rule, but you don't have the mind of a ruler. You know what I'm saying? See, our people don't have a mind of a ruler. At the end of the day, when you rule, you can't be concerned about making everybody happy. If you want to look at somebody who ruled effectively, then you look at David. And how did he rule effectively? Because he was a very wise man. And why was he a wise man? Because he had a heart after Elohim's. That's why you see Yahushua and how he ruled. See, people rule incorrectly. See, people thinking ruling is a massive amount of showing of force. And David and Yahushua never showed force to implement their rule. People already know these were kingly men off their mindset. See, our people don't want to rule because you want that crutch. You want somebody to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't ready to sit back here and go through that pain that it take to build something. You know what I'm talking about? And if you're gonna build something and be a ruler, you have to keep all the equity for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? You can't be sitting there looking for somebody else to finance what you got going on and say you a ruler. Because you're not a ruler, nigga. You're a highly paid manager. You're a highly paid manager. I done told you, man, I had like 3 companies hit me up, right, saying, yeah, man, we want to work with. And I had to tell them straight up and down. I say, check this out, yo. This not gonna be no employee-employer type of situation, my nigga, because I don't need you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not desperate for any work. So if you want to do business, we can do business. But the business got to be advantageous for me. You know what I'm saying? If it's not advantageous for me, I don't want to do it because I don't need you. See, what they look for is they look for you to be desperate. And they look for you to have such a desire and want for money and business that you'll give over your sweat equity and you'll give over your brand or whatever the case may be or what you got going on to chase after that because you don't know your value and your worth. Because, you know, I definitely had a company call me. They say, yeah, man, we getting contracts in your city. We like to do sub work with you. I say, well, check this out. Let me tell you something real. I say, if we going to do this here, ain't no 50-50 splits. I say, because I'm putting up all the work, all the material. I say, I can't take no less than 80. He said, well, it's been nice talking to you. I bet it was. Because I'm letting him know what my number is at the door. I need 80. Not 70, not 65, not 60. Because you ain't doing nothing. I could care less what you did in marketing to get that there in the third. Well, then you come do it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you want me to take the time out and do it, then you're going to pay me for it. Because I got to pay my people for it. And I'm not going to shortchange them because you think you're going to pimp me. See, that's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? See, our people like to get pimped. See, you like to get put on that stroll and you like to get hold out because you want to look like you got something. You know what I'm saying? Instead of actually having something. Because it's going to take time to get something. See, why do I say all of that? Because that's what happened with this word. See, you like to get hold out. See, you like somebody to give you scant information, fleshly information, stuff that pique your desires, make you feel good on the inside, make you have little butterflies twinkle and twirl, and they pimping you. You know what I'm saying? They pimping you. And they're not pimping you for your material wealth. They're pimping you out of your soul. Because you're going to lose your soul. See, stop worrying about doggone. But see, it's not fraud because they're not deceiving you because they're telling you what it is. See, at the end of the day, you only get what you negotiate. See, most people are scared to negotiate because they don't want to lose out on something. You know what I'm saying? And they too scared to walk away. See, I would talk that as a jit. Walk away. If it's not a good deal for you, walk away. You know what I'm saying? See, I didn't give these people an opportunity. You can't defraud me if I agree to it. See, if he come to me and say it's a 50-50 split and I agree to it, I'm the jackass. Because I ain't know my value and my worth. I wasn't thinking like a ruler. I was thinking like a peasant. And I was happy to take a 50-50 split. No, sir. I understand. It's a business deal. You got to get your cut because I know you putting some money up the market. So I got to respect that. Because that's when it comes down, if you own a business, you're putting up a lot of risk. Because I'm putting the money up and I'm putting labor in and I got to get my money back. Most of us don't understand that because you never owned anything and you never put your money up for nothing. And if you ain't never put your money up for nothing, you have no idea what that's to put and take a loss. I learned that in the street, boy. That's ugly. You know what I'm saying? You put your money in on something, take that loss, you have to bounce back. In business, that happens. You got to have some skin in the game. See, that's when it comes down to it with that word. See, if you ain't willing to sacrifice yourself, you know what I'm saying? To die with Mashiach, have some skin in the game. Or your only skin in the game is knowing you an Israelite. Oh, you're not going to stand. You ain't got nothing invested in the play. You ain't got nothing invested in the play. So when it get rough and the winds go to coming, you understand? That ground go to moving, you going to slide on out the way. Nobody say you ain't got no root in yourself. So by and by, you are offended. You ain't got no skin in the game. You're not invested. See, when you invested in something, You're going to go hard. See, I'm invested in what I'm, so you're not going to come at me with no 50-50 split. I need 80, my nigga. I might consider 75. I might consider 75, but I'm going to have to know what your marketing cost is. Because we partners. I don't work for you. Because we already know this. It's a subcontractor agreement. It's a 1099 agreement. I don't work for you. So therefore, since I don't work, you're not going to pay me like I work for you. But that's because I know what I'm worth. I'm not going to let you size me. See, most of us don't know that. You don't know what you're worth. So you let somebody size you. See, you're not going to size me. See, you could take that all the way around the board. As a man, if you don't know your value, if you haven't improved yourself as a man and you don't know that your value as a man, you're going to let a woman size you. You're going to let her play with you any kind of way. You don't know your worth. And since you don't know your worth, that's when you go to responding violently. Now you want to put your hands on her. You want to call out a name. You want to get aggressive. Because really, you know you low value, but you want her to respect you like you high value. But you know you're not high value and you mad because you're not high value when you really shouldn't be messing with the ball. No way. You should really be on your purpose and get your game tight in your mind right. That's why you want to beat up. Don't beat up, my nigga. Just go get you some money, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same token with this word. Don't get mad at these people because they ain't recognizing you an Israelite. See, you want to be high value, but you know you're low value. So when these people won't recognize you as who you want them to recognize you as, now you want to throw a temper tantrum and get upset. Don't get a temper tantrum, my nigga. Just get right. Just get Kadash. Just become a faithful servant of Elohim. Everything else will take care of itself. But let's continue. John chapter 13, right? I'll pick it up right, man, by verse 19. Because I done went off on the tangent. I'm just trying to give you some game. You can take it and do what you want to with it. Now, I tell you before it comes, that when it has come to pass, you may know that I am he. Truly, truly, I say unto you that he that receive whomsoever I send, receive me. He that receive him, he that receive me, receive him that sent me. Now, he already told you the priest should keep knowledge. And the people should seek the Torah at his mouth. For he's the messenger of Yahuwah of hosts. You think Yahuwah sending people out to tell them they're Israelite? You lying to me. You lying to me. If you think Yahuwah sending somebody, so you mean to tell me the first thing he gonna tell you is you an Israelite instead of saying know your God? Yeah, you lying to me. Lie if I ever heard one. I don't even remember where I was at before John 13. Hebrew chapter 12. Praise the Lamb. Thank the Lord. That is just a setup to complete what we were talking about on Wednesday about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But we're going to do it. Because then I get the segue. Because we're going to talk about New Jerusalem, we got to talk about the Garden of Eden. And if we're going to talk about the Garden of Eden, then you know we got to break it down. Because we already discussed that a tad bit on Wednesday as well. You understand? Because the Garden of Eden tie in, if you didn't know, now you know. Some of you already know, because we done talked about it from time to time. Make it 12 and 22 if you would. But you will come unto Mount Zion, to a city of the living Elohim, the Kadash or the Shama heavenly Yerushalayim, and to a innumerable company of Malachim. Listen what he said. This is the city of the living Elohim. Let me tell you something, man. I told y'all this last Wednesday night. I told you this in the past. If you don't understand that you're a stranger and a pilgrim, as they say in Hebrew chapter 11, and if you had been mindful of the country that you came out of, that you would have an opportunity to have returned, but now you desire a better country, which is the heaven, where Elohim ain't ashamed to be called your Elohim, because he prepared for you a city, just know you're going to hell. Just know that you're going. You don't desire a heavenly city. Everybody desiring something right here on this earth. But are you desiring a new heaven, a new earth where righteousness dwell? Where your heart at? Because that means you invested in the promise. You understand? That's why I said that you're going to go to hell. because you don't believe the promise. You're not invested in the promise. As we had just read in Hebrews chapter 6, you're going to be slothful. And you're not going to endure and have patience as those who inherited promises. That's what Yahuwah promised you. He promised you a new heaven and new earth where righteousness dwell, and that the city of Elohim would come down from Shamahim, and that he would dwell with men. Do you believe that he is going to do exactly that? And is your heart set in the obtaining of said promise? Because if it is not, you will not see him, not in peace anyway. And the stuff that we've been looking at to know the love of Elohim, which pass all knowledge, is for that point. You got people who don't believe this man prepared a city in heaven to come down to earth so he can dwell with you. You got people who don't believe that. That's what the man said. That's what it is. A brother I know today, he was asking like, okay, is Mashiach black? Is that in Revelation? Is that a literal description? And I seen a dude say, well, is the 7 stars in his hand literal? Is the sword in his mouth literal? And I'm like, man, I said, man, let me tell you something, man. We read the verse the other day. And yes, man, the man said his feet, he's brown skinned. He said it. Well, why would he say that? Because he know you're going to lie on him. He already know you're going to lie. If this man was slain from the foundation of the world and he done set down the whole mystery, you don't think he know that y'all going to lie on him? So he didn't let you know. Man, that ain't me over there, man. Don't you fall for that. Don't you be no dummy. Don't you be no dummy. That's it. That's why I always tell you about Revelation 2 and 18. Because he made it a point himself to say, thus saith the son of Elohim. This is what I look like. My eyes is with that wine because I'm finna slay. You know what I'm talking about? And my feet look like polished brass. And I read in the verse in Ezekiel with Malachi, but he's described in the same fashion so that you can know. The man did that so you can know, because he know these people gonna lie. This man had already told you in the book of Jeremiah that the Gentiles will come and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. But let's roll on out of here, man. To the general assembly in the house of the firstborn, which are written in Shamahim, and to Elohim, judge of all, and to the ruachs of just men made perfect, to Yahushua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of the sprinkling that speak better things than that of Abel, seeing that you refuse him that speak. For if they escape not him who refused him that spake on the earth, which more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speak from heaven? Whose voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven. And this word yet once more signify the removing of those things that are shaken, as of the things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. See, that's what ends up happening. See, a lot of people get shaken, so they're not going to stay, because you're not rooted. You're not steadfast. You're not faithful. Matthew chapter 7. See, Yahushua wasn't shaken in the time of his death. He wasn't moved. He went right on up there and did it. See, this is the thing, right? 7 and 24. See, this is the thing. You can make it 7 and 21. When it goes down, these niggas ain't gonna stand. Oh, super woke niggas. Oh, I know I'm an Israelite niggas. They not gonna stand. They gonna fold. They gonna fold. They gonna fold. Because they don't believe in nothing. When you don't believe in nothing, you're not gonna endure. That's the reality of life. 7 and 21. Book of Matthew, if you would. Not everyone that say unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of Shamahim, but he that do the will of my Abba, which is in Shamahim. And he will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name? And in your name have cast out many devils, and in your name done many wonderful works. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Therefore, whosoever hear these sayings of mine and do them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. Everyone that hear these sayings of mine and do them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which had built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. See, when you ain't rooted in that word, when you ain't built upon that rock, oh, you're gonna fall. Dead on your face. That is Psalms 139, 119, excuse me. You're gonna fall dead on your face, and you're going to be looking stupid. It's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. You're going to be looking for somebody to blame, and you ain't going to have nobody to blame but yourself. Verse 139 in the 119th division of Psalms. My zeal have consumed me because my enemies have forgotten your words. Your word is very pure, therefore your servant love it. Notice that he said that word is pure. It is saraf, if you recall. This is a word that has been refined. This is a word that has been tested. The word has been tested. You are those who were with me in my temptations. Yahushua, and the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. So we know the word's been tested. Therefore, see, come on, look at it, man. Come on, man. Y'all be thinking this stuff just be in here for no reason. Luke 22. I say your word it's been tested. That's what it says. Imra, Moad, Sarah. That's what it said. Imra is good old speech, word of Elohim, the Torah. So it literally telling you that is the word. It's been much tested. Now, if we was to take the time this evening to look at how many times this word was much tested, come over here to Luke 22. I need verse 28. Luke 22 and 28. From Luke 22 and 28, John chapter 1, just on general principle. It says, you are they which have continued with me in my temptations, and I appointed unto you a kingdom as my Abba have appointed unto me, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom and sit on the thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. Come over here to James chapter 1 before I come over here to John chapter 1. Notice he said, you are those who were with me in my temptations. James chapter 1 and verse 12. James 1 and 12. Baruch is the man that endure temptation. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. No man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim, for Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. That when lust hath conceived, it bring forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Notice that he said you receive a crown of life to them that love him, because your word has been tried, therefore your servant love it. Yahushua been tried, therefore you love it. Now come over here to what it is. John chapter 1, because Peter already told you that you love Yahushua, that you never seen it. Yahushua told you, blessed are those who have not seen and believe. See, we don't like to have them conversations. 1 and 12. See, we don't like John 1 and 12. You can make it 1 and 10. See, we don't like to have them conversations. But see, now the shift has to come off of you. And it's got to go to where it belongs on Elohim. Because that's where it belongs. It don't belong on you. Who are you? You just dust and ashes. What can you do? What can you do? Who can you redeem from death? Whose sins can you omit? Not now. You in need of a redeemer and a savior. That's how sick in the head we is. 1 and 9. John 1 and 9. That was the true light which light every man that come into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. And as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of Elohim, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of Elohim. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. And we beheld his esteem, the esteem as of the only begotten of Abba, full of grace and truth. That's what he told you now. Now Psalms 119 and 140 just told you that. Yahushua was tried before your servant loved. And that's what it tell you. But see, we don't believe in that. Psalms 119 and 141. It says, I'm small and despised, yet do I not forget your precepts. Small here. It's sir. It means you're young and insignificant. So when he says he's small, he's insignificant. Despised is self-explanatory. He said, but I don't forget them precepts, though. All this is dealing with the way. That's the character that's on this particular set of verses. Sod. Let's continue. Look at Psalms 142. Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your Torah is the truth. Now you got Amah. Again, something that is firm, faithfulness, truth, sureness, reliability, reliableness. You can rely on this word. It will not let you down. Romans chapter 4. Let's read about our father Abraham. Let's read what Paul wrote about our father Abraham, and knowing that the word of Elohim is reliable. 4 and 13. Romans 4 and 13. See, that's the thing I think where we get messed up at. We don't believe the word is reliable. That's why we talk about everything else but that. Now ask yourself this question. How many brews do you know who teach the word, speak about the word on a consistent basis, really genuinely talk about the things that this man has promised? Because if they genuinely talked about the things that the man has promised, then you would know that they rely on him. But see, let's just go past just the things that he's promised. Peter wrote to us and told us, cast your care and all your burdens upon the Lord because he cares for you. See, he told your people that when you came up out of Egypt, when he told them, you ain't got to come out of here with nothing, because I'm going to give you vineyards of which you have not planted, and houses which you have not built, and wells of which you have not dug, because I care for you. I hear your cries. I see your affliction. I see your oppression. I will come for you because I care for you. See, we don't believe that. We don't believe it because most people have not had people who genuinely care for them. We seek to defraud one another. We seek to take advantage and manipulate people, as long as so that we can satisfy our selfish motivations and means, because you don't have a genuine care for other people. So when you see a man, especially when you look at the example of David, when you look at how Yahusha operated, those people weren't following around Yahusha because they had genuinely loved his word. He told them that. He said, y'all only around here for the miracles. See, everybody talk about how these people follow this man around. They followed him around because of the miracles. They didn't follow him around because they cared about what he was talking about. Only a handful actually cared about what he was talking about. I've told you this before. The only difference between now and times past is that we scattered everywhere. But if we were all in a central location and Yahushua was here manifested in the flesh again, going from city to city, y'all wouldn't fool with him. Look at this man about what he was doing in the text and how people behave right now with this dispensation of time. And you can answer in the comment, do you think these people would fool with this man? Look at what people teach now versus what you read he was teaching. Do you think that these brews in 2020, July, whatever day it is, because I don't remember what day of the week it is, what day of the month it is, do you think they fool with him? I'm here to tell you, I'll give you a resounding no. They would not fool with him, because he would not be talking about what they're talking about. He would not be on what they own, and he would be chin-checking these people. Do you really think that these people who in this word and all these organizations that we see and all these brews that you see online, do you really think these people would fool with him? Absolutely. I agree with you, Sharon. They're going to hate him. They're going to hate him. They're going to despise him with every ounce of their soul. If they despised him then, what makes you think it would be different now? Ask yourself this question. If everybody loved him so much, why did they let him get crucified? Why nobody stood up and said, no, don't do this? They were screaming, crucify him, crucify him. Let his blood be on our sons. This is what these people said. They didn't say that man ain't did nothing wrong. They didn't say y'all priests and scribes and Pharisees shouldn't do this. They were complicit. Now, of course, we all know this went down for our redemption and salvation, and praise Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua for it. But let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not lie to ourselves, brothers and sisters. Let's not lie to ourselves. Yeah, and I ain't even gonna say it's just the system, because the system ain't got nothing to do with it. Because pride existed before any governmental system was ever created. It was in the heart of Hashatan in the garden to deceive Eve. It was in Eve's heart when she listened to the lie. It was in Abel's heart. It was in Cain's heart when he slew Abel. See, pride don't know no system, because pride rests in the heart of men. Remember, he said he made man outright. Man sought out many inventions. I don't care what type of system we come up with. A man's pride gonna come in the way because he gonna lift himself up and be arrogant against righteousness. He gonna want to do what he want to do. And when you tell him what he doing, don't what's the word I'm looking for? Jive, connect, equate, and parallel to the words of heaven. Oh, he gonna buck. He gonna buck. At the end of the day, there was no system in place, and Cain slew his brother because Yahuwah accepted his sacrifices and not his. Pride welled up in his heart. You raw. You mad with your brother because you sorry. You want to kill this man because you sorry. Because you wicked. Abel ain't even say nothing to you. Abel ain't even do nothing to you. His works just were righteous, and you were mad. See, you ever sit back and look at it. Ain't nobody mad with none of these people out here about what they doing. Nobody don't care nothing about you getting no farmland, boy. Don't nobody care. That ain't no right. Nobody cares. Well, I seriously seen people say that Nick Cannon was being persecuted for righteousness' sake. I wanted to slap my own self. What righteousness was he being persecuted for? Do you know how sad of a commentary that is, that we believe that you're persecuted because you say you're an Israelite? Man, let me move. Let me move. I ain't trying to, man, let me go here. Romans 4:13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham or to his seed through Torah, but through the righteousness of faith. Let me read that to you again. For the promise that he should be heir of the world. Pause and think about that now, because we're taking this even further. Y'all know that, right? It said Abraham was promised to be heir of the world. Of the world. Not only the world, it wasn't just to Abraham or to his seed through law, but through the righteousness which is of faith. Because Abraham believed Yahuwah and he counted to him for righteousness. So guess what? You're not an heir to the world because you an Israelite, you fool. It's through the promise. See, nobody want to have that conversation. You're not an heir to the kingdom of Elohim because you're a brew. You can't find that in the text. That's a promise that he made to a group of people. Not because you are that group of people, because I made a covenant with a man who I swore that to, and I'm a man of my word, but not seeds of many, but seeds of one. That seed being Mashiach. Because guess what? He able to raise us a seed to Abraham from stones. He don't need man one of you niggas to raise up no seeds to Abraham. Let that be known. He don't need you to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the pride. That's what in your flesh, glory in the state. But let's continue. He said, for they, if they which are of Torah be heirs, faith is made void, and the promise made of none effect, because the law worked wrath. For where no Torah is, there is no transgression. See, that takes us back to how we know that the tree of good and evil in the garden was the law, because he said the law worked wrath. There's no wrath in the garden. We already read that. See, Paul, let's go back. Let's go back. Let's prove that. Let's go ahead and prove it. Let's go ahead and prove it. Number one, let's look at this Greek word for wrath. Absolutely, amen. Ain't that what he said in John? Ain't that what he said? I'm gonna grab that too. I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a banger all the way live, if it ever was one. That's John chapter 8, if y'all don't know what he referencing. We're gonna go look at it in a moment. You can go to Genesis chapter 3, though. The Greek word for wrath is orga, anger, agitation of the soul, anger, wrath. Also, anger exhibited in punishment, hence used for punishment itself. So keep that in mind. It's for punishment. The law is for punishment. Now come over here to Genesis chapter 3. Pick it up at verse 8, if you will. Nope. Make it 7. Genesis 3 and 7. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked. Let's look at this Hebrew word for naked. We're taking it back. We're bringing you back, son, to your memory. Because at the end of the day, we got to show how your death came by the tree of good and evil. So therefore, Yahushua had to be the tree of good and evil, and therefore redeem you from the very thing that brought death on your head in the first place. Now, naked is Aaron. Of course, you know that is your nakedness. You got Ayin, you have Yad, you have Rosh, and you have Meen. Let me put that up there for you. Let me do that for you so you can see it. Don't want that. Don't want that. There you go. Characters being moving a little slow. Ayin, God, Rosh, Meen. So when you look at that, right? We'll take that and we take Rosh and you grab that with thoughts. You take Meen, you're going to bring that. Let's make that a little chaos, a little sin. So you've been thinking about sin. You got plots, plans, and sin. So guess what? You knowing and working the thoughts of sin. That's what happens when you're naked. You notice it. How do we know that? Because she knew what she was doing was wrong because she said it. Adam already knew what was wrong because he taught it to her. So you knew the work. You remember, thoughts is your plots, plans, and motives. So you already know your plans and devices is sin. You already know you working the plans of sin. You already know you're doing it. And sin worked wrath. Because what did the text say would happen to them if they ate from that tree? They would surely die. There was no wrath in that garden because there was no law. The minute they got law, that's when wrath is instituted. Let's continue. And the eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Ain't that something? That's just like a nigga. Let me cover it up. Let me go ahead and cover it up. And when they say aprons, just a little girdle, little loin covering. Let me cover my genitals. And I heard the voice of Yahuwah Elohim, and they heard, the voice of Yahuwah Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. Adam and his wife hid themselves in the presence, from the presence of Yahuwah Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. Yahuwah Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, where are you? Heard your voice in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. And he said, who told you you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree where I have commanded you that you should not eat? Now, we're not going to read them curses. You understand? But you know that he cursed the serpent. He cursed the woman. He cursed the man. That's punishment. That's punishment. And they surely died. That's punishment. Now, let's look at something in Exodus 32. I know I referenced this the other day, but we got to prove it. We have to prove it right now. (32 and 21). I'll make it quick. Moses said unto Aaron, what did this people unto you, that you brought so great a sin upon them? Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. You know the people that are set on mischief. Well, they said unto me, make us gods, which shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Mizraim, we wot not what has become of him. And I said unto them, whosoever have any gold, let them break it off. So they gave it to me. And I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Now let's look at that, naked unto their shame. Now you're shamed. Remember what it tell you, that sin is a reproach to any people. That's a shame to anybody. Now we have a different word for naked here. We have parah. And what do we have here? To be loosened, to refrain, or to show a lack of restraint. And you got Peirosh and Ayin. So naked here in this verse in Exodus 32 is parah. Okay. Rosh and Ayin. So when you look at that, guess what? You know, or you've heard, or you've experienced the words of false motives, if you would, because you're going to look at thoughts again, and it'll be your plans, your devices. You know it, or you can see these words or thoughts, bad thoughts, if you will, because now you've been loosened, or you took off the restraint. So when you look at you've made them naked, they're unrestrained. Well, what restrains you? Because in 2 Corinthians 5, it says the love of Mashiach constrain us. It holds you back. You know what I'm talking about? See, now when we look at shame, see, we ain't held back by nothing. And that's how we like it. Now, when you look at this one here, right? When you look at shame, it means whisper or derision or whispering. The word is shimsa. So now what it is now, matter of fact, even better. Why you think, before I give you these characters for shimsa, with whispering, come to Luke chapter 14. Let me show you why. Because he said this is what your enemy is going to be doing in the wilderness. Now look at this here, right? Luke chapter 14. I just got to see what verse I want to start at. I start at 26. It ain't 25. It ain't going to hurt nothing. I wasn't going to do it, but screw it, I'll do it. And there went a great, this is Luke chapter 14, verse 25. And there went a great multitude with him. He turned and said unto them, if any man come to me and hate not his Abba and Emma and Isha and sons and brethren, sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Whosoever do not bear his stake and come after me cannot be my disciple. See, like, remember, right? We talked about that on Wednesday. I'm esteeming the stake and not my flesh. See, a lot of people, they're not bearing that stake, so he can't teach you. For which of you, intending to build a tower, sit not down first and count the cost, whether he has sufficient to finish it? Lest happily after he laid the foundation and he is not able to finish it, all that behold it began to mock him, saying, this man began to build and was not able to finish. And that's what he take on: hostile spectators, the whispering, the derision, the ridicule, Sean, mean, sod, and hay. Guess what? You behold the way, but you got consumed by sin. And guess what happens? Because you behold the way, but you got consumed by your sins, your enemies just sat by and whispered and ridiculed you and mocked you. That's what he meant when he said, guess what? Now you done made them ashamed before their enemy. And now the enemy is going to be talking about them. They weren't able to enter in. Look at them. I thought this was a righteous people. That's how people look at you. Don't let them look at you like that. Revelation 16. And when I say you, prayerfully, that ain't none of you specifically. 16 and 12, excuse me. But more so, people want to see you fall. They don't want to see you finish the work. They don't want to see you be saved. They want to see you go to hell. You know what I'm saying? They want to see it. Some people don't care nothing about you saying you're an Israelite. They don't care nothing about that culture stuff you talking about. But when you go to talking about, I'm going to live a particular type of way because I have a belief and a promise that individuals don't believe is real. Oh, they want to see you stumble. They want to see it. They want to see you turn back to the dope boy, to the drunk, to the whore, to the liar, to the idolater. They want to see it. People talking about you can't stop being an Israelite. That's how dumb niggas is. Niggas talking about a repentant Israelite. Ain't no repentant Israelite. You just unrepented. Drop the Israelite. You just unrepented. You can't come back to Yahuwah as a repentant Israelite. How stupid is that? That doesn't even make sense. That's insulting to your intelligence. Because when you say that, it's really about you. It ain't about him. I thank Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua every day. Because without him, what am I? Like a dead man walking. I take no, I rebel not. Like this here, right? I seen a dude say, does the Holy Spirit bear witness you Israelites? You know why a lot of dudes spend all this time trying to prove to people they're Israelites? Because they don't believe you. Who cares if people believe you're an Israelite or not? I don't care. But you're going to know about Yahushua, I guarantee you. And I don't even care if you believe that. I don't care. I'm not going to spend time proving you we are the Israelites. I got the scholarship, but you ain't got to believe it, my nigga. What that mean to me? I know what it is. So what? You can't prove it. Where your DNA test at the store? Where your genealogical records at? Wherever they be. Why you know you an Israelite? Hey man, take it up with you, bro. I don't care. I'm not engaging in that. It does not lead to godly edification. It ministers to strife, more questions, and folly. So why would I participate? Why would I participate? How can you say you spiritually mature and participate in that? Okay, somebody don't believe in Yahweh. You wicked, you this. You are opposing your own soul. So why would I be angry and frustrated with you? Because you decided that you want to go ahead. That's your choice. I will let you enjoy that choice. And I will go about my business. Don't bother me in the least bit. Why would it? So I gave you the best dope there is. And you say you don't want to smoke. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'm saying dope in this regard, the reefer. Y'all know how y'all felt when y'all was a kid, when you used to smoke your little doobies, smoke your swishers, your optimals, your Phillies, your Dutch Masters, your backwoods, your 1.25, whatever it was your choice. Because I don't think too many of y'all was smoking no bowls like the white boys unless you was hanging with the white boys. And you offered a nigga your blunt and he said, nah, I don't smoke. How many of y'all got mad? You were like, well, shoot, that's more for me. So you think I'm gonna get upset because you reject a love like this? Because you deem yourself, there's a lot of people in the world like that. They got people who love them. You so used to being unloved and disrespected and neglected that you don't want somebody to love you. And you think somebody's supposed to be sad because you deem yourself unworthy of love? That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. I'm not gonna get upset about a problem you got with yourself. Remain unloved then. That's your problem. And that's how Yahushua see it. You don't want my love? That's fine. Cause I know my love good. So I ain't finna cry to you and beg you for me to love you. Cause you say you don't want it. That's your problem. That's a you problem. See, that's something y'all have to understand in life. You have you problems and you have them problems, and then you have we problems. A lot of things that go on in life, they're not we problems. That's a them and a you problem. And they got to sort that out. You know what I'm saying? You know you got a we problem because it's a mutual issue between two people. But a lot of times it be you and them problems. You know what I'm saying? You got to let them people sort that out. Or if it's a you, then you got to sort that out. You know what I'm saying? Everything ain't mutual. Come on now. Revelation 16. And the sixth Malachim poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. The water thereof was dried up. The way of the kings of the east, the way of the kings, of the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean ruachs like frogs come out of the mouth of the serpent, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the ruach of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of Elohim Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Baruch is he that watch and keep his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Let them people catch you out here going against them words, knowing the word, but still choosing to sin. Don't be out here being no pariah now. The word, still choosing to sin. Don't do that. Because then they're going to whisper. They're going to see your shame. They're going to ridicule you. So now we've established clear as day that the tree of good and evil that they partake in was the law. Come back to Hebrews, Romans chapter 4. Excuse me. Because see, I got to talk a little Garden of Eden too before we get up out of here. If not, Ezekiel 39, a little bit, little precursor in Ezekiel 38, little precursor, but and Ezekiel 37, a little precursor. You know what I'm saying? But it's something to look forward to. It's something to anticipate. It's something to desire. Romans 4 and 15. Because the Torah worked wrath. Where no Torah is, there is no transgression. Therefore, it is of faith that it might be by grace to the end. The promise might be sure to all the seed, not to that only which is of Torah, but to that which is of faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. As it is written, I have made you a father of many nations before him whom he believed, even Elohim who quickened the dead, and called those things which be not as though they were. Who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall your seed be. Listen what he said, Elohim who quickened the dead, called those things which be not as though they were. So you got to remember that. Elohim tell you something that even though you can't see, remember what we read in John 13, right? He said, I tell you what it is before it happens, so that when it comes to pass, you might believe that I'm he. You understand? That's the beauty of Elohim. But let's continue. It said, who against hope believed in hope. This man, old as dirt. Him and his wife. She passed childbearing age, and he believed, and who against hope believed in hope, because he know this man gonna do what he said. Listen what he said, and not being weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. Now look at this here. See, now we can take that to the Lord. Because see, the Lord wasn't weak in faith, because his body was now dead. See, come on around here, Psalm 16, screw it. His body was dead. He wasn't weak in faith, though. See, I'm going to show you why I say that in just a minute. The word going to show you. That word been tried, right? That's what we read earlier. It's sure. 16, right? Screw it, pick it up at verse 1. Ain't going to hurt nobody. Ain't none but the word. That's what we here for. See, a lot of people ain't here for the word. And I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about in general. A lot of people ain't there for the word. A lot of people want fellowship, but they don't want no word. A lot of people want to look like they're righteous, but they don't want no word. So you got to get the word to be righteous. And you got to have faith to be righteous. And you got to believe. And when you believe, everything flows from this here. Since a lot of people, man, they're going to be looking at, man, we were doing this and doing that. That man, I'm like, bro, I don't fool with you, bro. I don't know you, bro, because you don't know me. You thought you knew me, but you ain't know me, cuz. But you ain't seek me after the due order. You sought me after your own course. Preserve me, O Elohim. This is Psalm 16, verse 1. Preserve me, O Elohim, for in you do I put my trust. O my soul, you have said unto Yahuwah, you are my Lord. My goodness extend not to you, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent, in whom is all my delight. Come on now. Come on now. Talk to him now. This is what the man said, right? Y'all got that type of, it's that type of thought process in your heart. When you think about Elohim, right? He said, my soul said to Yahuwah, you are my Lord, my goodness extend not to you. See, listen, right? It don't stay. Extend is not there. It just says, you are my Lord, my goodness. That's what it say. See how them people play them games? Extend not to you. What is it there for? It just says, Amar Yahuwah Adonai told. All they telling you is that you are my good Lord. That's what it say. My good master. I just want y'all to understand that and know that. That's what it says. You are my good master. Period, point blank. That's what it says. He say, but to the saints that are in the earth, and to the excellent, in whom all is my delight. Let's look at excellent, right? Because I want you to look at excellent, right? Son, that's great and majestic, right? And majestic one, a chieftain, a good servant. The word is Adder, Aleph, Dalet, Yod, Raj. So guess what? You know that the head has been sacrificed by the works of the highest, because it was his father's delight. That would made him excellent. Remember, he said he would be called great and be called the son of the highest. Well, what made him the son of the highest? His ability to be offered. He didn't consider his own body being now dead because his flesh rested in hope, as we gonna read. Their sorrow shall be multiplied that hasten after another God. The drink offerings of blood will I not offer, nor take up their name into my lips. I ain't talking about no other God. We don't serve no Pan. Huh? We ain't lifting up their names in our lips, because that's what it's going to tell you in the Psalm. We ain't lifting up no Pan, no Osiris, no Odin, no Set, no none of them, no good, wicked, fake, folly bastards. I seen a nigga earlier today talking about, Islam's ain't got no problem with Israelites. We all brothers. The lies you tell, you lying to me, nigga. This nigga worship another God. This nigga worship Madonna, you fool. You dummy. But that's how I know these niggas don't believe in Yahuwah. Talking about Islam ain't got no problem with no Israelite, but they got a problem with Yahuwah. That's how you know we don't love him. Because you looking at as long as it ain't no pressure with you and me, but you ain't looking at the fact that he got pressure with the man who you say is your God. What did David tell us in Psalms 139? I count them all my enemies. If you were enemy of my father, you were enemy of mine. Period, point blank. I don't care if you know we are Israelite. If Nick Cannon around here slaying hope, come on, man. Nick Cannon been married and divorced. This man is an adulterer. This man is an adulterer. This man's been married a couple times. This man talks about numerous occasions about his fornication. This man is an idolater. And you talk about Yahuwah got his 5 hands on him. May Yahuwah be with him because you said he was an Israelite. You ain't looking at a nigga don't follow Yahuwah. You ain't looking at this nigga don't believe in Yahuwah. And these niggas so dumb, this man done said we were Israelites several times. Remember when y'all got all excited when he was wearing his turban? He said it like in. And y'all was on his nutsack. And then you realize that he said he was dealing with ski religion and all this other stuff. And you got off his nutsack. Niggas is gullible and simple and stupid. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not looking for the word. You're looking for the buzzword of the day so you can post about it. But let me move on. It says, Yahuwah is my portion. Yahuwah is the portion of my inheritance and of my cup. You maintain my lot. Notice that he said, Yahuwah is the portion of his inheritance. Yahuwah is my part of mine inheritance. Her inheritance is kalak, that is one's possession or award from Elohim. Yahuwah is my reward. Huh? Yahuwah is not the reward for many of his people. He is not the reward. And when you look at maintain, that is tamak. That's tau, that's meme, that's ka. That's somebody who's going to support and hold fast. Look at what else he says. The lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. When we look at goodly heritage, you have shafar, and of course, heritage is nakla, and of course, that's heritage. It's a pleasing, it's beautiful, it's comely, it's bright, it glistens, it's fair, it's shan, it's pay, it's rosh. You're paired to the word of the highest. Well, what is being paired to the word of the highest? Pause. Revelation chapter 3, we still hold in Romans chapter 4, because he said that I have a goodly inheritance. Well, let's look at the thing right here in Revelation 3 that this man said you're going to inherit. We read it the other day. We're going to read it again. Revelation 3 and 11. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast. Indeed, that no man take your crown. Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim, in the name of the city of my Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down out of Shamahim from my Elohim, and I will write upon him my new name. Now, she just mentioned Levi. Remember that Yahuwah was Levi's portion. Yahuwah was Levi's inheritance. What is the text? What did we just talk about a few weeks ago? That we're a spiritual priesthood. When we were dealing with Melchizedek, you're supposed to be operating like Levi. Who is your inheritance? We don't want Yahuwah as our inheritance because you can't floss with that. See, you can't really floss with the Ruach because the Ruach ain't really a flossing type thing. Because you got the floss in Yahuwah, in Yahushua. You got to esteem them. It don't really lift you up. Ain't no way it can lift you up. Elohim lifting you up in his sight. But that's not a lift up in man's sight. And see, that's what we want. Well, let's come back to Psalms 16. I will bless, this is verse 7. I will bless you who have given me counsel. My reins also instruct me in the night seasons. That takes you back to Yahushua before he got killed. I have set you who are always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. Pause. Now let's come over here back to Revelation chapter 3. Pick it up at verse 21. Then go to Colossians chapter 3 and pick that up at verse 1. Because he said Yahuwah is always at your right hand, because you set him before you. See, a lot of us, we have not set. When we look at set, that is Shabbat. Listen to say pause before you go any further in Revelation 3. Get to Revelation 3 and 20. I know I said 21, but it's probably 20. And Colossians 3. Look at Shabbat. Shan, U, and Hey. It means to agree with, to become like, to resemble. That's what that word is. It's Shan, U, and Rod. So guess what? Guess what? That Yahoo being paired to the nail or to the stake of Yahushua, you will agree with him. You will become like him. You will resemble him. That's what it says when it says, I have set, I have become like Yahuwah. That's what it says. I have become like Yahuwah. And it says always, which is tamed, which is to perpetuity, continual. Yamaim for set at my right hand, which is the right side. And I will not be moved, which is mot, which is I will not be shaken, which we've already discussed. So come back to Revelation 3. Now, since I mentioned that, we're going to get Revelation 3, Colossians 3, and then Philippians 2. Revelation 3 and 20. Listen what it says. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and I will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and sat down with my Abba in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the houses. Now come to Colossians 3 and 1, because he said you'll be sat down. Now remember, right? You got that nail when you're dealing with I've set or become or Shabbat. I resemble Yahuwah. That's what it says. I resemble Yahuwah. And I will continue to not be moved. I'm built on a rock. I cannot be shaken. See, that's faith. Law can't do that for you. Knowing you an Israelite can't do that for you. That's the promise. That's when you know his love. When you know his love, how could you be moved? That way, that passes all knowledge. Now you filled with the fullness of Elohim. Now you filled with the Ruach. But let's continue. Colossians 3 and 1. If you then be risen with Mashiach, seek those things which are above, where Mashiach sit on the right hand of Elohim. Set your affections on those things above and not on things on the earth. You are dead and your life is hid with Mashiach and Elohim, and there go your nail. If you're going to resemble Elohim, then you have to be dead. Dead to the world, dead to sin, dead to your lust, dead to all things that are contrary to him. For when Mashiach, who is our life, shall appear, and you shall also appear with him in esteem. Philippians chapter 2. You right by it. Forgive me if I don't get time for you to get there. I got the roll. I got to get at least him being that tree, scripturally bringing it out to you versus referencing to you before we depart from here. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 5. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Mashiach Yahusha, who being in the form of Elohim, thought it not robbery to be equal with Elohim. But made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men, and being found in the fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the stake. I just want y'all to sit there and think about Psalm 16 and 8. I just want you to sit there and think about that. Now remember, we'll sit back and show you how Yahusha was the tree of good and evil, how he partook of that tree and was made naked before his enemies. And y'all should know it. Some of y'all should be clicking in your brain like, oh man, he literally had to partake from that tree and be hung from a tree in order to reverse the curse of that tree. Had to do it. He had to do it in order to reinstate the paradise of Elohim, which is the Garden of Eden, of which he will establish in New Jerusalem, which will come down from Shamahim, like we read in Revelation chapter 3 and verse 12. Listen to what it says now. In verse 9, I'll read verse 8 of Psalm 16 again. I have said, or I resemble Yahuwah continually, because he is at my right hand, I will not slip. I will not totter. I will not shake. I will not be moved. Therefore, my heart is glad and my esteem rejoice. My flesh also rests in hope. What is hope? It is batak. That is security. That is safety. It is secure. Pt8. The son know he's been separated and contained or filled with Elohim. That's why he's secure. So you have to sit back and look at that. Does your flesh rest in hope? Are you secure in your Elohim? Because this is why he said, for he will not leave my soul in hell. Neither will you suffer your Kadash one to see corruption. Now, Yahusha told you in John chapter 11, verse 25, whosoever live and believe in me shall never taste death. He said, I'm the resurrection and the life. Do you believe that? Because if you know that he didn't suffer his Kadash one to see corruption, then he won't allow you to see corruption. Don't look at his corruption as maggots and worms and the decaying of the flesh, because we already read that on Wednesday. I want to read it to you again, but I ain't going to do it. I know what Job 19:25 say. Even though after worms destroy this body and my flesh, I shall see Elohim, because I know my Redeemer lives, and on the latter day stand upon the earth. I know my Redeemer lives. And if you know your Redeemer live and you live and believe in him, then you know life is in you. So why would you be worried or concerned? Your flesh would rest in hope. He ain't going to leave you in the grave. He going to raise you from the grave, and you're going to meet the Lord in the air and forever be with him. Do you believe that? Do you believe that promise that he made you? Let's continue. Verse 11, you will show me the path of life. In your presence is fullness of joy. At your right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. We already read what he told you. If you endure, sit at his right hand, Mashiach, your life, you might rejoice. But see, I want you to look at something, right? He said, we already know these words, Yada or Rakka, okay, which is you will know the path of life. Then you got to sit back. Ain't nothing in here. That's what I want. Pleasures. Naim. Something that's delightful, that is sweet, that is lovely. Noon, Ayin, Yah, and me. So guess what? You know the life of the Ruach and that work that it took to get it, or that worship that it took to get it. That's why it's agreeable. See, we can't do it because, see, it's not beautiful to us. It's not beautiful to us. Come back to Romans chapter 4. It ain't. We don't deem this a beautiful thing. That's why we've made it a carnal thing. In verse 19, all this is looking at how HaMasiach did not even consider his own dead body, like Abraham did not consider his. I will read Romans 4:19 again. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. And he staggered not at the promise of Elohim through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving esteem to Elohim. We know Yahushua didn't stagger. and being fully persuaded that what he had promised, he was able also to perform. And therefore, it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now, it was not written for his sake alone that it was imputed to him, but for us also, to whom it shall be imputed, if we believe on him that raised up Yahushua our Lord from the dead, who was delivered for our offenses and raised again for our justification. So he was delivered because you offended. We already read earlier in Genesis chapter 3 where you offended. Because at the end of the day, the only time we talk, again, I've told y'all this for years, curse of the law. And they swear it's just Deuteronomy 28, Leviticus 26, and the curse of the law is death. Remember, that's why there's the genealogy in Luke 3, to get you back to Adam, to redeem you from death. At the end of the day, man, niggas always talking about this book about Israel. This book is about Israel. Yasharal, true Yasharal, the son of the living Elohim, the only begotten son of the living Elohim, your redeemer, your savior, your Lord, your master, your king, and your brother, Yahushua HaMashiach. That's who this book is about. This book ain't about you. You are a bit player. I hate to tell it to you. I hate to break the news. You narcissistic, proud, arrogant bastard you. I hate to break it to you. You a bit player. This book ain't about you. Why would the book be about a person who needs to be saved? Why would the person who needs redeeming be the main character of the text? What type of sense does that make? Doesn't common sense tell anybody who's ever read any piece of literature that has a protagonist, a hero, if you will, that he would be the focal point of the story? Because you would need him in order to, ain't nobody finna watch no story about you, boy. This junk always funny to me, because we were talking about this last night. I could only imagine if that was an actual literal description of what occurred, and that David Ruffin literally said that. I would have loved to have been in the room to see that, because to me, it's hilarious. It's hilarious to see it in the film. But just imagine seeing it in person. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. You Otis. Yasharal, you are Otis. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. They coming to see Yahusha. Ain't nobody coming to see you. See you for what? That's who he is. We around here thinking they coming to see us. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Ain't nobody coming to see you. At the end of the day, they coming to see the Lord. They ain't coming to see you. What you gonna do for them? What you got for them when they come see you? I know that don't make people feel good. I don't care. John chapter 8. I what y'all need to start telling them brews, man. They go to talking about Israel this and Israel that. Just you ain't even got to go in no detail. But like, wait, nobody coming to see you. That's all you got to tell them. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. John chapter 8, verse 34. Indeed. Indeed. They definitely did. I want you to look at them. That's what you put up. If you're on the poll going on, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. What you mean by that? Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. Nowhere in this text did anybody come looking for Yasharal. Somebody came looking for Solomon. People wanted to holler at the king. Nobody want to come holler at you. Nobody coming to see you, man. Nobody want to talk about you. Talk about you for what? Why would anybody want to come see a people that actually took a woman and raped her, abused her, and killed her? Niggas who was looking for boy food. Niggas who was in the temple with their back to the temple worshiping the sun. Niggas who was offering their children to Molech. And that, and indeed, it's not even your word. It's not even your word. It's not even your word. Come on, man. It's not even your word. John 8:34, man. Man, 8:33. They answered him, we Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How say you, you shall be made free. Yahushua answered them, truly I say unto you that whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abide not in the house forever, but the son abide forever. Paul, come look at it. You commit sin, you serve sin. Can't dwell in the house. Genesis chapter 3 now. Bear with me, because I'm going to do what I said we were going to do now. Genesis 3:20. They committed sin, served sin, can't dwell in my house. Genesis 3:20, Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife did Yahuwah Elohim make coats of skins and clothe them. Yahuwah Elohim said, behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore, Yahuwah Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. You got to get up out of here. You serve sin, can't dwell at my house. You got to go. The man ain't playing no games. You got to go. Can't stay here. Not here. Ain't no sin here. You got to go. Remember, right? Where there's no sin, work wrath, the law work wrath, or the law works punishment. That's punishment. He was punished. He had to go. Let's continue. If the Son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. That's John 8:36. I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you. I speak that which I've seen with my Abba, and you do that which you've seen with your Abba. Ain't that funny? That we always like to grab that Revelation 3 talking about the synagogue of Satan. No, you the synagogue of Satan, nigga. You the house of the adversary, you big dummy. How could they be the house of the adversary? They were already adversaries. They were already against Yahuwah. You the house of the adversary. He that commits sin is of the devil. So you are the house of the adversary. Why would he be talking about them people? Why would he be talking about them people? For what? For what? Because a nigga who don't know what he talking about done talk to you that and you believed it because it sounds good. I speak that, I've already read that, verse 39. And he answered and said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahushua said unto them, if you were Abraham's sons, you would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man who have told you the truth, which I heard from Elohim. This did not Abraham. You do the deeds of your father. They said unto him, we be not born of fornication. We have one father, even Elohim. Yahushua said unto them, if Elohim were your father, you would love me. For I proceed forth and come from him. Neither came of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Even because you cannot hear my word. That man said, he that hears Elohim's words are Elohim. You therefore hear them not, because you're not an Elohim. See, that is a hard pill to swallow that nobody don't want to deal with. This man's word ain't got place in everybody, and they can't understand his speech because they don't believe his word. They can't get the B'nai, they can't get the Sakal because they do not believe his word. That word is tried, therefore his servant loved it. Yahushua been tried, he been tested, and he stood forth solid. Therefore, those who've been tried and tested by the word, they love it. Those who haven't, they don't love it. Now, let's go back to look at some of these words for the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Y'all know the words, but for clarity's sake, let me not even say clarity, but to be as thorough as possible. Come over here to Genesis chapter 2. We will look at the words for yourself. Just want to be thorough. That's all. I'm going to drop them up there for you. Of course, tree is S. Tree. I want you to see it for yourself. Tree let you know that you know the way. Now you got knowledge. Should be Goth. And it is. This is your knowledge, your discernment, your understanding, your wisdom. Adalet, Ain, Gatal. So in this one here, you know the covenant of sacrifice. You know it. So now you got, you know the way, you know the covenant of sacrifice. Now you have evil, which on this one here is Ra, which y'all know is something that is evil, which is disagreeable. You got Rosh Naim. Well, it's in all caps. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. So when you look at this here, do you know the highest? Because if you knew the highest, then you would know that these things are disagreeable to him. Now, this is what it says, right? He said, when you eat of it, you will die. We've already established that in Romans chapter 4. That where there is no transgression, there is no law, because law works punishment. There was no law in the garden, there was no need for it. When you come back to Genesis chapter 3, remember, he said the law is not for a righteous man. Remember Ecclesiastes 7, he told you he made man upright. He made man upright. You understand? So when you turn around with that, right, come over here to Genesis chapter 3 and verse 6. So the way, you know the way. It says right here, right, that the woman saw the tree and that it was good. That's told. Come to Romans 7, right? This is a refresher for some, new information for others. 7 and 7. 7 and 7, the epistle to the Romans. What shall we say then? Is the Torah sin? Elohim forbid. That was not sin to the instructions that Yahuwah gave. That's not sin. The sin is when you don't listen. No, Elohim forbid. No, I had not known sin but by Torah. They did not know what sin was. They didn't have no law to know what it was. That's why he say they become like us to know good and evil. Look at what this man finna tell you. I had not known, for I had not known lust except Torah said, you shall not covet. Remember, we already talked about that with them being naked. Let's continue. But sin taken occasion by the commandment wrought in me all manner of conspicuance, for without Torah, sin was dead. For I was alive without Torah once. You just seen that. If you eat from this, you will die. Sin was not alive. Now let's look at some of these words in this Greek so you can see it for yourself, because I want you to understand. People say a lot of things, but a lot of things don't be congruent with what this book say. And if you know what this book say and you understand what it says, then your ability to continue to serve Yahuwah is increased dramatically. Now, conspicuous, this word is epithemia. This is a desire, a craving for what is forbidden. So we say sin takes the occasion by the instructions to bring forth a desire for that which you ought not to do. Verse 9, right? For I was alive without Torah once, but when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment which was ordained to life, I found to be unto death. For sin taking occasion by commandment deceived me, and by it slew me. Not that the law deceived you, your lust deceived you, as we read in James chapter 1. And then once the law showed forth that you contrary to it, now you die. Now that very law slays you. Now Eve was deceived. By what? By the sin. Taking occasion by the instruction, it slew her. That's why she rehearsed it back. He deceived her. That deceit of that flesh is what slew her. Let's continue. Wherefore the Torah is Kadash, and the commandment Kadash, just and good. Well, then that which is good made death unto me, Elohim forbid. but sin, that it might appear sin working death in me by that which is good, that sin by the commandment might become exceeding sinful. Do you see how he's telling you about good and evil in the law? Same thing you see in the garden. He's telling you the same thing. This when you have understanding that you can see that and understand what he is conveying and take that to the law and say, okay, I see what happened here. That's why he say we got to keep the tree of life from them, because now they're like us. They know the law and they can live forever. It's not you who will know the law. Come over here to Isaiah chapter 40. Does he not know the law and live forever? Let's see what the text says. After Isaiah chapter 40, Deuteronomy 32. Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 13. With whom, well, I'm sorry, I skipped verse 13, didn't I? Who have directed the Ruach of Yahuwah, or who, being his counselor, have taught him? With whom took he counsel, and who instructed him, and taught him in the path of judgment, and taught him knowledge, and showed to him the way of understanding. Who did it? Who did it? Come over here to Deuteronomy chapter 4. Who did it before we go to Deuteronomy 32? Let's get another witness on that law now. That he know the law and he lived forever. Because then we're going to have to go look and see if Yahushua knew law too now, ain't we? That's what we're going to have to do right after. It's only right. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 4. Matter of fact, just make it verse 1. Now therefore hearken, O Yasharal, unto the statutes and unto the judgments which I teach you, for to do them, that you may live and go in and possess the land which Yahuwah Elohim of your fathers have given you. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish from it, that you may keep the commandments of Yahuwah your Elohim, which I command you. Your eyes have seen what Yahuwah did because of Baal Peor, for all the men that follow Baal Peor, Yahuwah your Elohim have destroyed them from among you. But you that did cleave unto Yahuwah your Elohim are alive, every one of you this day. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahuwah my Elohim commanded me, that you should go do so in the land whither you go to possess it. He said Yahuwah taught him that. So that means Yahuwah know the law. Deuteronomy 32. Let's see if he lived forever. Now I'm going to pinpoint some things with Yahushua with the law. So bear with me. We're going to do that right now. Deuteronomy 32 and 39. See now that I, even I, am he. There is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and say, I live forever. Let's look at instances that Yahushua know law. Well, I'm already over here. Mark chapter 12. Mark chapter 12 and verse 28. Give thanks to Elohim. Give thanks to Elohim in the name of Yahushua and all things, for Yahuwah is good and his mercy endures forever. Mark chapter 12, verse 28. And one of the scribes came, and having heard them reasoning together and perceiving that he answered them well, asked him, which is the first commandment of all? Yahushua answered him, the first of all commandments is here, O Yasharal, Yahuwah our Elohim is one Yahuwah. You shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There's none other commandment greater than these. Now we need another witness. We could have used the witness that we talked about the other day when he told him to go to the testimony with the leper when he healed him. But we're not going to use that. We're going to go over here to Matthew chapter 12. That'll be our second witness. Matthew chapter 12 and verse 1. And at that time, Yahushua went on Shabbat through the corn, and his disciples were hungered and began to pluck the ears of corn and to eat. And when the Pharisees saw it, they said unto him, Behold, your disciples do that which is not lawful to do upon Shabbat. But he said unto them, Have you not read what David did when he was hungered? They that were with him, and how he entered to the house of Elohim and did eat the shewbread, which was not lawful for him to eat, neither for them which were with him, but only for the priests. Or have you not read in Torah how that on Shabbat the priests in the temple profane Shabbat and are blameless? But I say unto you, in this place there's one greater than the temple. And if you had known what this mean, I will have mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless. For the Son of Man is Lord even of Shabbat. I'm the master of the cease and desist day. Let's look and see if he lived forever. Revelation chapter 1. Revelation chapter 1, verse 17. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet dead, and he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, for I am the first and the last. I'm he that lived and was dead, and behold, I'm alive forevermore. Amen. And I have the keys of hell and of death. So you got both of them that know the law and live forever. Who taught Yahuwah? Nobody taught Yahuwah. Yahuwah already had it. Remember now, you just read that in Genesis 3. He said, we can't let them come partake of this tree of life because they're like one of us. They know good and evil. They know the law. They know what's right and what's wrong. They know what is good and they know what is disagreeable to us. If we let him partake of the tree of life, he'll live forever. And you can't even realize that on the back end, you would know the law and live forever with the new covenant. But see, that's another conversation. But let's look at this here. Yahushua is the tree of life. We've established that he knows the law. I want you to come to Matthew chapter 27. We have to see how he had to be ridiculed because his shame was exposed. And because his shame was exposed before his enemies, that the very, and in fact, Galatians chapter 3, let me get that out of the way. That would be the proper setup. Yahuwah willing, Garden of Eden and New Jerusalem is on tomorrow. Can't fit both of them in a day. Thought I could, but no, we're just not going to be able to do that today. You can pick this up in Galatians 3 and 7. But it's a good segue. So when we get there, y'all willing, on tomorrow, we segue right on in. Know you therefore that they which are of faith, the same are the sons of Abraham. And the scripture foreseeing that Elohim would justify the heathen through faith, preached before the gospel unto Abraham, saying, In you shall all the nations be blessed. So then they which are of faith are blessed with faithful Abraham. For as many as are the works of Torah are under the curse. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that continue not in all the things which are written in the book of the Torah to do them. But no man is justified by Torah in the sight of Elohim, justified being Sadak or righteous. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. And the Torah is not of faith, but the man that do them shall live in them. Mashiach have redeemed us from the curse of Torah, being made a curse for us. For it is written, Cursed is everyone that hang on a tree, that the blessing of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Yahushua HaMasiach, that we might receive the promise of the Ruach through faith. Now notice, right? The curse came from a tree. You were redeemed from the curse by a tree. But says, son, it's come to my mind. Let's come over here to Romans 5 and let's just do it like that right now. 5 and 12. Wherefore, this is Romans 5 and 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. But until Torah, sin was in the world, the sin is not imputed with the is nor Torah. There's another witness to what we've already established, so praise be to Yahuwah. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. Pause. Now come to 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Because Adam died by the law. You died by the law. So therefore you have to be saved by the law, so to speak, or the word being made flesh. Nevertheless, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, I want you to pick this up at about verse 40. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, about verse 40. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the esteem of the celestial is one, and the esteem of the terrestrial is another. There is one esteem of the sun, another esteem of the moon, another esteem of stars, for one star differeth from another star in esteem. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in esteem. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body, there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening ruach. Howbeit that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and after that, that which is spiritual. What does that take us to? The law was not of faith. The tree of good and evil was not of faith. The tree of life was of faith, because he said if they would have ate of the tree of life, they would have lived forever. If you believe on Yahushua, you will live forever. Remember, the just shall live by their faith. That's what it says. Come over here to Habakkuk chapter 2, man. Come on over here to Habakkuk chapter 2. You can pick it up in verse 2. I still need to go back to Genesis chapter 3, but we're going to get there, y'all willing. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. Yahuwah answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables, that he may run that read it. I didn't want you to see what it is that's plain. That's Ba'ar. Make it distinct. Make it clear. Bat, Aleph, and Raj. Just know that the sun is the strength of the highest. Just know that. Make it plain. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Now he told you that this vision is for an appointed time. Kazon. See, that's what we don't want to look at. And you know, appointed time is Moed. You know, that's a sacred season, set feast, appointed season, appointed meeting. This is for a particular time. And at the end, it's going to talk. You already know the ending already came. When they tell you in these last days in Hebrew chapter 1. Meaning, Yahushua began the last days upon his resurrection. When they say speak is puak, it's going to breathe. And y'all know what he breathed on his apostles, right? You got pay, and kot. So go ahead and look how you're going to be secured to a word that separates. Like that ruach going to separate you. And he said it's not going to tell you no lie. And though it tarry, you better wait for it. For because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now, tarry here the first time is ma'ah. That means to linger, to wait, or delay. And when they say, though he bear long with them. See, that's our problem. See, we don't want to wait for it. See, we don't think it's coming. The second time tarry is mentioned, it is a car. That is to hesitate, to defer, to delay. Now, when he tell you to wait, that's ka, kaf, and hey. You better go ahead and just go ahead and behold that open palm and be separated. Go ahead and wait for it and long for it like you long for that day of redemption, right? Oh, come over here to Romans chapter 8 for that then. Just go on and wait for it. Ain't gonna hurt you. Ain't gonna hurt you. 8 and 18. Romans 8 and 18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the esteem which shall be revealed. For the earnest expectation of the creature wait for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption and to the esteemed freedom of the sons of Elohim. For we know that the whole creation groan and travail and pain together until now, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Ruach. For even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope. But hope that is seen is not hope, for what a man see, why do he yet hope for? But if we hope for what we see not, and we do with patience wait for it. See, that takes us back to what we were talking about in Psalm 16. But see, we don't believe none of that. See, we don't have that in our heart, unfortunately. Not at this present time. Yahuwah willing, it will be there. Verse 4 of Habakkuk chapter 2. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. So you know justice, Sadak, and what do you have for faith? You have Amuna, steadfast. You won't be moved. You'll be like Mount Zion, won't be moved. Back to 1 Corinthians 15, we're in verse 47. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they that are also heavenly. And we have borne the image of the earthy. We shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now, in Galatians 3, he told you he redeemed you from the curse of the law by being hanged from a tree. I want you to come over here to Matthew chapter 26. And let's look at this man partaking. Remember, he said, you were those who were with me in my temptations. Remember, he was tempted in like points as we are, yet without sin. Because he knew good and evil. We already established he knew the law. Remember, in Matthew 19, he told the rich man about the law. So we already know he know the law. So he knows good and evil. What did he tell the woman when she was caught in adultery? Go and sin no more. So he knew good and evil. He done already partook. But because he partook, he has to die. And since he has to die, he has to be naked. And since he has to be naked, then his shame has to be exposed. And if his shame is exposed, then his enemies will whisper and ridicule or derision, if you would. See, matter of fact, come over here to Job 16 when it comes to derision. 16 real quick, like when it comes to derision. Place for that. 16:1, if you would. 1. I want 16:9. Job 16:9. Job 16:9. Well then, you didn't want to participate. To 9. Job. He tear me in his wrath who hate me. He gnash upon me with his teeth. My enemy sharpen his eyes upon me. They have gaped upon me with their mouth. They have smitten me upon the cheek reproachfully. They have gathered themselves together against me. Elohim have delivered me to the ungodly and turned me over into the hands of the wicked. I was at ease. He have broken me asunder. He've also taken me by my neck and shaken me into pieces and set me up for his mark. Now let's look at some of those words quickly before we go over here to Job chapter 30. Number 1, he said he set him up as his mark. Mark here is Madara. Target. Mark. A figure of chastisement. Mean tet rosh hay. He said he set him up as his means or mark of chastisement, or also someone who is in prison. He said they smitten upon the cheek repeatedly. They gaped upon me with their mouth. You want to look at gaped. It is pa'ar. And that word means they opened their mouth wide. They ran that gator. Job 30:1. Listen what it says. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. We already know what he read. He said he made the world and the world was by him and they knew him not. Now when it says younger, it is again, sir, someone who was young or insignificant. It has yom up under that. So you got day. someone who is of younger days, have him in derision. Derision is sakak, shan, kat, ku, to laugh, play, and to mock. They mocked him. We already established that earlier with the mocking. Come over here to Matthew 26. Praise the Lamb, because we straight on to it. We want to pick it up at Matthew 26 and 26. Now, Matthew chapter 26 and verse 26 says, and as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it, brake it, gave it to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. He took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink you all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. Some of you already know that he said in the hand of Yahuwah, there's a cup filled with great mixture, and the wicked drink the wrath that's in that cup. Remember what it said in the book of Jeremiah, that you have determined that you shall not drink this cup. You shall drink of it. Remember, Yahushua prayed that if it be possible for him not to drink that cup. Him drinking that cup is the drinking of the cup of the covenant, what he just said. Well, what was the covenant made up of? The covenant is made up of nothing but the law. That's all that was in the ark of the covenant, but them 2 tables of stone. So now you see that he is partook of the fruit of the tree of good and evil. And because he's partook of the tree of good and evil, now he must be made naked before his enemies and exposed, and he must die. The same way that they died in the garden. And where was he taken to die? In a garden. Y'all already know that. We talked about that last week. Come over here, drop down a little bit. Matthew chapter verse 42. And when he went away again the second time and prayed, saying, oh, my Abba, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, your will be done. He came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then come he to his disciples and say to them, sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand that the Son of Man is betrayed into the hand of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that do betray me. Now, you know, once he drank the cup, his nakedness was exposed. Let's turn around and look and see how they exposed his nakedness even more. Matthew chapter 27, verse 27. Then the soldiers of the governor took Yahushua into the common hall, gathered him into the whole band of soldiers. They stripped him and put on him a scarlet robe. And when they platted a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head and a reed in his right hand. They bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, hail, Malach of the Yahudim. They spit on him, took the reed and smote him on the head. And after they had mocked him, they took off the robe from him and put on his own raiment and led him away to crucify him. And they came out as they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name, and him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they were coming to the place called Golgotha, that is to say, the place of the skull, they gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall. And when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, parted his garments, casting lots that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vestures they did cast lots. And sitting down, they watched him there. So now they've hung him on this tree. He has knowledge of good and evil. He knows what's right. Like they say, why call me good? There's only one good, Elohim. He has knowledge of what's good. He has knowledge of Tob. He has knowledge of Ra. He knows the discernment, because that's what it is. You can discern between good and evil. What does the book tell you? That Romans chapter 5. Hebrews chapter 5. What does Hebrews 5 tell you about that? 5 and 10, if you would. No, 5 and 12. He said, for when the time ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of Elohim, and are become as such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. But strong meat belong to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil. That is exactly in Hebrew what the tree of knowledge of good and evil means. That's exactly what it means. Knowledge is God, that's knowledge, wisdom, and discernment. and good and evil. And they had not used the law, so therefore they would have no ability to discern between good and evil. That's why he told them, don't partake in it. Once they partook in it, now they have the knowledge of what's good and what's evil, and now they have to discern between picking which one. And he said, let us keep that tree for them, lest they live forever. This is very simple. You know what I'm saying? It's really not that deep. It's not this extra stuff and all this fantastical stuff that everybody like to come up with to explain what went on there. They had a choice between law and faith, life and death, and they chose death because they could have easily chose faith and ate from the tree of life and lived forever. That also shows you that he was not made to live forever to begin with, because why would there be a tree there that he could partake in to live forever if he already could live forever? This is common sense. It's right there. It's plain. It ain't no more simpler than that. We just don't want to accept it because somebody taught you different and you just don't want to accept that it's not that. But as simple as that. They had choice between law and faith, and they chose law. And they died because of it. Because the only way that you can discern between good and evil is you would have to use the law. Since they never used the law, they didn't know what good and evil was because they were babes. They were unskillful in the word of righteousness, period. Which is a mass majority of the people dealing with the text right now. You're unskillful because you don't use it. So you're a baby. Once you use the word, all this extra stuff that people like to put into play, man, all you got to do is use it, man. If you believe the promise and put it in and put that faith into action, this word is very, very simple to execute. It is not difficult. It is not complex. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. And you can live a quiet and peaceful life and constant expectation of the returning of your Elohim. That whether you be alive or whether you be deceased, that you will be with him. Simple as that. All this extra stuff we trying to get in, that's vainglory for niggas to get their shine. At the end of the day, nobody don't care about Yahuwah. Don't nobody care about Yahushua. They don't even talk about these dumb niggas out here looking for reparations. You looking for man to validate you. When Yahuwah said he gonna give you all of this. Ain't that what he told you in Isaiah chapter 60? Is that not what he told you in Psalm 68? Is that not what he told you in Isaiah 65? Is that not what he told you in Isaiah 66? Is that not what he told you in Habakkuk chapter 2? Excuse me, in Habakkuk chapter 3. Is that not what he told you in Haggai chapter 2? We can go on and on and on again. You know what I'm saying? You don't believe the word. You don't want Yahushua to reign over you. You have no desire to serve him. You have no trust and hope in him. You still eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil and utterly refuse to partake in the tree of life and live forever. You utterly refuse. Niggas so simple that they sit back and take them verses in Ezekiel 47 and Revelation 22 and try to relate it to herbs in the earth. Man ain't even talking about that. Man ain't even talking about that. It's for the healing of the nations. You got to get your herb, you big dummy. He ain't talking about that. Not to say that the herbs in the earth are not for your healing. That's not what that verse is talking about. That's not the tree of life, you clown. I say you a clown because you're unskillful. You don't know what you're doing. You're using it incorrectly, and you bumbling and fumbling, and it's going to cost people their life. Because you want to take everything that you see in front of you and relate it to a verse that's not talking about that. That chain tree of life you see in Revelation 22, that you see in Ezekiel 47, that you see reference in Jeremiah 17, that you see reference in Psalm chapter 1, the same tree that you see about in Genesis chapter 1, which you were told that you should have took part of in Genesis chapter 2, but you chose to take the good and evil. So he had to keep that away from you in the 3rd chapter. And I mentioned all them verses. You go read it for yourself. Revelation 22, probably about starting at verse 1. You can get your Ezekiel 47 at about verse 12. You can get your Jeremiah 17 at about verse 5. You can get your Psalms 1. And you know saying Psalms 1 ain't even that long. You already know we read Genesis chapter 1 the other day. The seed that's in itself, the tree that brings fruit unto itself, whose seed is of itself. And the fruit is of its own kind. What you think the healing of the nations is? What you think you're getting healed from? Death. If he told you in Genesis chapter 3 that if they partake of this tree, they're going to live forever, then what you think? Let's just go ahead and look at it, man. I'll come back and finish this here with Yahushua. This junk just grind my gears. Matter of fact, I'm going to end with that. Let me finish this Matthew 27 so I can get y'all on up out of here. It's already almost 11:30. We 10 minutes to 11:30. I need to go ahead and conclude the day so we can slide right into the Garden of Eden, the New Jerusalem, and the promise of righteousness in the new heaven and new earth, that we might rejoice in what Yahuwah has promised. And for all those who have a mind and heart, soul, and spirit to endure for it, that they continue their labor, that they may receive a full reward, and that they may behold the face of their Elohim and to praise his name for all eternity. But come on back over here to Matthew chapter 27. Though. Look at what these stinking bastards did over here in verse 38. There were two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand, the other on the left. They that passed by reviled and wagging their heads and saying, you had destroyed the temple, and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you be the son of Elohim, come down from the state. Likewise, also the chief priests, mocking him, and the scribes and the elders said, he saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the Malach of Yasharal, let him now come down from the stake, and we will believe him. He trusted in Elohim. Let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the son of Elohim. Now he's naked unto his shame, and his enemies are whispering against him. They're slandering him because he's naked. He doesn't have his garments. Remember, every time he slid out the way, he said, because it wasn't his time. It wasn't the time. It wasn't the time. He wasn't naked unto his enemies. The minute he drunk from that cup, he done partook in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Remember John 18 to tell you that he went and found them in a garden where they always resort to. Praise Elohim. It's all the same word. And it's all about Yahushua. He's in every line, every precept, every verse. It's all about him. Come back over here to what it is I wanted. Luke 22, Luke 23. Luke chapter 23, verse 32. Matter of fact, Luke chapter 23, verse 26. And as they led him away, they laid hold upon one Simon, a Cyrenian, coming out of the country, and on him they laid the stake that he might bear it after Yahushua. And there followed him a great company of people, of women, which also bewailed and lamented him. But Yahushua, turning unto them, said, daughters of Jerusalem, weep not for me, but weep for yourselves and for your sons. For behold, the days are coming in which they shall say, Baruch are the barren, and the wombs that never bear, and the paps which never gave suck. Then they shall begin to say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills cover us. For if they do these things in the green tree, what shall be done in the dry? Was also two other malefactors that led with him to be put to death. And when they would come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, the one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Yahushua, Abba, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. The people stood beholding, and the rulers also with them derided him, saying, he saved others. Let him save himself if he be Mashiach, the chosen of Elohim. The soldiers also mocked him, coming to him, offering him vinegar, saying, if you be the Malach of the Yahudim, save yourself. And the superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek, Latin, Abarim, this is the Malach of the Yahudim. And one of the malefactors which were hanged wailed on him, saying, if you be Mashiach, save yourself and us. Remember what he told you, make sure you keep your garments, that they don't see your shame, that they don't talk about you. Because they're going to talk about you. When your shame is exposed, you're going to be talked about. Now, let's come over here to Revelation chapter 2. Now, what you see there, right? He's hung on a tree. We don't need to read Acts 5. You know he was hung on a tree. You know, cursed be he that hangeth from a tree. You know that they got to take him down off the tree because you can't leave him on the tree on the Shabbat. You know that from John 19. You already know this. You know that he had to redeem you from the sin of Adam. So if the sin of Adam came from partaking in the tree of good and evil, then Yahushua got to redeem you in the same fashion. The same way death come in, he got to bring life in. So death came, he was alive, But because of his disobedience, he died from partaking from this tree. Well, Yahushua was alive. He died on the tree so that you could be alive in the same fashion. Because that's how Yahuwah works. That's how you know that Yahushua is the son of Elohim, and he is the one who you ought to believe and put your hope in. And that in believing on him, you'll have everlasting life. Come over here to Revelation chapter 2. Pick this up, right? I'm going to pick it up at verse 1 because I'm going to hit you with all of that. And then I'm going to read those verses about that tree of life. Because we're going to talk about Yahuwah willing on tomorrow more about that tree of life because it will be pertinent in regards to discussing about the Garden of Eden. Unto the Malachim of the house of Ephesians, write, these things saith he that hold, this is Revelation 2:1, he that hold the 7 stars in his right hand, who walk in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks. I know your works and your labor and your patience, and how you cannot bear them which are evil, and have tried them which say they are apostles and are not, and have found them liars. And you have borne and have patience for my name's sake, and have labored and have not fainted. Notice he said for his name's sake. Notice he said for his name's sake. Nevertheless, I have somewhat against you, because you have left your first love. Remember, therefore, from which you are fallen, and repent and do the first works, or else I will come unto you quickly and remove your candlestick out of his place, except you repent. But this you have, that you have the deeds of Nicolaitans, which I also hate. This is what he tells you. He that hath the Ruach, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogues. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. So now, Yahushua has overcame. If you overcome, he will allow you to eat from that tree of life, which you already know will allow you to live forever, say the Torah. Revelation 22 now. Revelation 22 now. Let's look at what it says about this tree. This is what we're going to leave you with. Revelation 22:1. And he showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Elohim and of the Lamb. In the midst of the street of it, on the either side of the river, there was the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month, and the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. That's why I say it's idiotic for people to say that these herbs out here are the tree of life, when the tree of life is not manifested until New Jerusalem. That's when you see it. You don't see it before then. Go to Ezekiel 47 for confirmation out the script. I know it's redundant, but you need confirmation out the script for this. When they tell you about that water's coming out the house, go read Zechariah 14. It tell you about it, because you're going to see more waters coming up out of there in regards in Ezekiel 47. I just want you to see all these things that's in it now. Remember, that's Etz and Kai, I believe, for life, is that's what's used here. For tree of life in Genesis chapter 2, and you know that's Kai God. Go ahead and be separated by that word. That son that's living, and that's alive. Let me swing over here to Ezekiel 47. I'll already be around this corner for you. Pick it up at verse 12. And by the river, upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaves shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to its months, because their waters issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine. Let's look at medicine. Medicine here is Torah Fa, healing, a remedy. You got Tau, Rosh, U, K, Hey. Don't worry about it, because we're going to come back and we're going to deal with all this on tomorrow. I'm just leaving this with you for you to think upon. He said the leaves on these trees will never fade. That is Navel. They won't sink, they won't wither, they won't languish, they won't fade. Now, this is the same tree. Of course, when you get into verse 13, it goes to talking you about the borders. You know, when you get in chapter 48, it goes to talking about the division and the gates, and that the name of the city is Yahuwah is there. Y'all willing, we're going to get to all that on tomorrow. Jeremiah 17, We're going to visit all this on tomorrow. You will be merciful enough to let us catch it. Jeremiah 17:7. We don't need verse 5 for the wicked niggas. Blessed is the man that trusts in Yahuwah and whose hope Yahuwah is. Again, blessed is the man that batak, whose hope and expectation is in Yahuwah. You got trust, you got confidence in him. You're bold, you're secure. You remember that when we were talking about the righteous are bold as a lion? Mitbach is for those whose hope is in Yahuwah. That's your refuge, your object of confidence, your state of confidence, and your trust. Look at what he says. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, that spread out our roots by the river, and shall not see when heat come. You can read that in Isaiah 49 and Revelation 7. But her leaf shall be green, and shall not be careful in the year of drought, and neither shall cease from yielding fruit. What did I tell you? Out of the belly shall flow rivers of living water. If you're never ceasing from yielding fruit, then you're never ceasing from yielding the fruits of the Ruach, because the Ruach is eternal. It never ceases. Psalms 1, and we out. Blessed is the man that walk not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stand in the way of sinners, nor sit in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuwah, and his Torah do he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever do he shall prosper. Now he's telling you about the tree of life, and each time with the tree of life, do you see something? Faith is involved. Faith is involved. Faith is involved. The tree of life is in the midst of the Garden of Eden. The tree of life will be in the midst of New Jerusalem, which will be as the Garden of Eden. We were fresh that for some, we were presented new for others. But hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We give thanks to our Elohim on his Kadash Shabbat continually in the name of his son, Yahushua HaMasiach. We give thanks for understanding. We give thanks for mercy. We give thanks for salvation. We give thanks for the word. But without it, we'd be men most miserable, because we would be awaiting death. But as you can see, Yahushua redeemed us from by being actually partaking in the tree of knowledge of good and evil, the same way that Adam did. The same way that Adam did. Things were necessary, because he has to implement what it was set to be from the beginning, which we shall see. That's why we read that Revelation 2, that if you overcome, you'll eat the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. Garden of Eden was the paradise of Elohim, and that will be translated to New Jerusalem. So, with that being said, I bless y'all at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. I appreciate your time. Prayerfully understanding was imparted. Wisdom can be brought forth and be executed. Understanding can dwell in your heart. You can understand how much the man loves you, that you can be filled with the Ruach, live forever. That's the most important part of the whole play. And that you can understand, it's not about you, because ain't nobody come to see you, Otis. They came to see the Lord. That's who they came to see. Is that who you came to see? Is that who you came to see? That's what you got to ask yourself. Who you coming to see? Praise Yah indeed. Who you coming to see? You coming for the word? And when I say the word, we talking about Yahushua. Word been made flesh. Remember what we read in Psalm 16? I said, Yah before me, I seek to resemble Yahuwah and to never fall. When you got that faith, you can't never fall. You never shake, you never slip, you never totter. Ain't none of that gonna happen. You might get a little bit off balance, but you ain't gonna stumble. You ain't gonna fall on your face. That's why it's imperative. That's why it's necessary. Again, blessings to y'all at the house of Yahuwah in the name of Yahushua. Yahuwah willing, man, we pick it up on tomorrow and make it do what it do.